How can this $20 part potentially cost $15,000 to repair? Well, let's figure out how to avoid that and make it a lot cheaper.
Morning, guys.
Hey, how are you guys this morning?
Guess where we are?
Where, Sharon? Where are we?
We're still in St. Augustine.
It won't release its grip on us. Anyway, what we're doing is, you guys have probably seen us kind of, if you feel like in the videos we've kind of bounced around a little bit, Knoxville, St. Augustine, things like that. We've had a little bit of a hard time getting out of St. Augustine. As most of you know, we have a real estate company, so we had some extended closings and all, so yeah, we had to come back. Yeah,
we had 2 final closings, and then it got delayed a week, and then it got delayed another week. Long story short, we did finally finish the closings here December 21st. So December 22nd, we hit the road so we could finally start our big adventure. And what happened, Dwight?
What happened is we were going down I-10. We're heading west. We're going into Alabama, New Orleans, Texas, all points west, right? We got about 100 miles west of Jacksonville on I-10. We stopped at a rest stop. Sharon was actually driving. She's doing really good, by the way. She's doing an awesome job driving, giving her some time behind the wheel, towing the Colorado and all.
Getting to feel a bit better. All that suspension work that you had done on the rig really made it feel a lot better for me.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. So anyway, I went to fire it back up at the rest stop so we can continue on to our overnight at a Cracker Barrel. We're looking forward to the meatloaf. And,
yeah, I love their meatloaf.
But anyway, I heard an engine noise. And some of you mechanical guys out there and girls out there, when I say lift or tick, you might understand what I'm talking about. But it sounded like clack, 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 there, tick, 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 in the top end of the motor underneath the valve covers on the right side. So I said, oh boy, that's not good. Did some little investigative work, made some phone calls, and I said the best thing we should do is just bring it back here to St. Augustine. Still drove in a road great, but we didn't feel comfortable driving it, continually driving it west where I had no knowledge of shops and people.
Yeah, and we have great contacts here. Like I said, Dwight's on a first name basis with all the best mechanics here in St. Augustine. So anyway,
so it's here. It's at Ray's Commercial Center, which works on big trucks and RVs, and it's over there waiting to go into their shop for them to diagnose it, which maybe by the end of today, but first thing in the morning at the latest, it'll be in the shop for them to diagnose. I'm hoping that it's just a valve, a rocker arm or a lifter or something of that nature that's super simple, doesn't require a tear down of a motor.
So hopefully it'll be a fairly easy fix that we can, hopefully at the first of the new year, that we can finally head out here. So, yeah. But luckily, you know, we have a lot of friends here as well, which is another reason we came back here as well. So one of our great friends, Bill and Vicky, actually they happen to be out of town here visiting their relatives up north. They offered the use of their home, so we're actually kind of crashing over at their house.
Yeah, we're using very nice people, so we appreciate them very, very much. But it's given us an opportunity to, you know, kind of take a breath, because when you're living in an RV and something goes wrong, unlike your house where you can still live in your house, but you can't live in your RV if it's in a shop somewhere. So you have to kind of, that's got that element of surprise going for you.
And we knew that going in. We figured that at some point in time there's always going to be mechanical issues that may happen. So we, you know, already have it in our mind that we know some time during our travels we may have to stay a week or two at an Airbnb or a hotel. So you know, it's not really a surprise, and we were always prepared for that.
Yeah. So anyway, when we get to the shop, I'll show you the RV. I'll see if I can fire it up real quick and let you guys listen to what I heard, and then let you kind of know where we're going to go from there, okay? All right, gang, here we are at Ray's Commercial. Go on in, Sharon. Go ahead, girl. And we're going to go inside. Gentleman's up underneath there right now. Mechanics, these are really good guys here. So we'll just show you kind of what the engine bay looks like. I don't want to get in their way. He's got it starting to get it all tore apart down there. He's working on getting the valve cover off. In case you guys know, that's the valve cover is that one, that area right there. And of course we got one on the other side, but he's working on getting it all taken apart so he can investigate and find out what's going on. So I'll keep you guys updated. There we go, guys. He's doing a little bit more investigative work. He's got a little mirror out and magnifying glass and whatnot so he can look further into that. But about where he's got his light, that's the cam lobe that's roughed up. And what a cam does, it helps, it actuates your valves and closes your valves, your intake and exhaust valves and all. But right about where his hand is, that one lobe is pretty roughed up. it's got a lot of scoring on it, so it's been rubbing on there. There's no telling how long it's been doing that. It could have just happened, or it could be, those cams are usually pretty hardened steel, probably one of the harder steels built into the motor along with the crankshaft. But he's doing some more investigative work, and you know, we'll see kind of where we have to go from there. Hey guys, good morning.
Morning. At the bright crack of dawn here.
What time is it? About 5 after 7?
I think so.
Today is a good day. Sharon, tell them why today's a good day.
Well, we found out yesterday evening that our RV is ready, so Dwight is gonna go pick it up here and drive it for about 100 miles to make sure everything's copacetic. And
yeah.
Otherwise it looks good.
Yeah, I went over yesterday as a prelude to this video. I went over yesterday, talked to Aaron. He was able to figure out how to get this thing put back together. The cam, the rocker, the lifters, without having to tear the motor apart. Smart dude that guy is. Very experienced. So anyway, went over, heard it run. Woohoo! Music to my ears, let me tell you. So we're gonna go take it for a test drive for about 100 miles. And we're gonna bring it back. They're gonna change the oil again. That'll be the second time it's had its oil change while it's at the shop. And that's to make sure any metal fragments, any little micro fragments that are in that motor from the rocker arm and the cam getting torn up. To make sure they get trapped in the filter, so we don't have any future problems.
Yeah.
Okay?
So if all goes well, we'll be back home tonight. So,
Yeah,
looking forward.
All right, we just got to Ray's commercial tire and truck repair, and they're a Goodyear dealer, of course, as you can see. But they do a lot of fleet and commercial work here in St. Augustine. Phenomenal. Let's go check out the RV. All right, guys, the motor's put back together. You can hear how smooth it's running. Getting ready to take it for this 100-mile test drive and come back and get this oil changed again. But if you heard it the other day, I wish I'd have done a video, but I didn't do a video. It was making a heck of a racket, clack, 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 and that tells you that it's kind of up in the valve train somewhere. So in this case, it was with a rocker arm. So we'll go take it for a little test drive, and we'll see how she does. Hey gang, I'm out test driving the RV. We've now got about 80 miles on her. I'm heading back to the shop. I'll be there in about, 10 miles. So we have about probably 90 miles on the motor now that we've got the new cam and the rocker and the lifter in it. So we're going to rechange the oil, like I said earlier, so that we make sure there's no fragments, little microscopic pieces of metal trapped in the oil filter. We're going to get rid of all of that oil. They changed the oil once, now we're going to change it again. But we're out test driving it, right, for that purpose, and also to kind of break in that cam and rockers and stuff a little bit, because metal parts inside your engine need what they call break-in. They need to kind of mate together with the oil, of course, lubricating things. So we're just kind of doing that too. We're varying the RPM on the motor. You don't overload it, but you want it to work a little bit, different little heat cycles and stuff, and that helps break in your metals inside your motor. Again, we're only dealing with a cam and rockers. It's not huge, but if it was a whole motor where they rebuilt it, we'd have to be doing a long break-in period, 500-600 miles, things like that. So we're fine here. So we're going to check the oil. We'll probably open up the oil filter, make sure there's nothing there, and I'll give you guys a report on that too. So the next segment of this video will be showing the parts that we pulled out, kind of how they work and what happened to them, and give you some ideas of what we think happened, and some tips and tricks on this motor, this V10, that folks with this kind of motor need to be aware of, I think, or at least consider and keep in your mind. So anyway, I'll be right back and we'll talk about parts and pieces, okay? Thanks. All right, gang, as promised, here's the offending parts and pieces for this RV and the reason we're back in St. Augustine. All right, a little background. This is a Ford V10, all right? Third phase motor, I believe it was. This is a 30 valve motor, 10 cylinders, and these have had some issues over the years. So I want to show you guys what I found as an issue and what my research has found as issues and what we found was wrong with the RV when we put it up there. A little background here on the parts. This is a camshaft. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. This is a camshaft. This controls the opening and closing of your valves in your motor, right? These are lifters. These allow and move your rocker arms, which are these pieces here. These are your rocker arms, and together they work the valve train, okay? And so what happened in our RV, without getting really deep into all the pieces and parts and the mechanisms and stuff, this is a rocker arm, or what they call is a cam follower in an overhead cam motor, which is what these new V10s are. This cam follower went bad. I don't know if you can see it. Sharon, just hold the camera and I'll see if I can manipulate it. You can see how dark and black some of the areas are and how torn up, how torn up some of the metal is. And now if you can hear it, how crunchy that is. Those are the bearings inside this roller that have gone bad. And when they go bad, they lock up and they start grinding. And this cam follower, the body of it, rides on the cam. And let me show you the cam. Bring the camera right in here, Sharon. You'll see how scored up, scratched up this cam lobe is, all right, as compared to the one right next to them that are nice and clean. This is what happens when parts don't roll free. They tear things up. This is what happened to our RV. That was the ticking noise or the rapping noise I was hearing from the top end of the motor. All right, so that's kind of what went wrong with the motor, and these are the parts we had to replace. Okay, so, oops, let me put that back up there for 1 second. As you can see, if I just show you the rocker arms, I went and got a spare one so I could show you guys. This is a brand new one. Okay, nice and clean. She free rolls real well as compared to this little guy, as you saw, was all torn up and rough and just the metal's all beat up. All right, so that's what it is. That's what we had to have replaced. All right. All right, so we got that done. In the shop I used here, as you saw previously in the video, Ray's Commercial Center. They are outstanding at what they do. It's a shame that Dean, the owner, is selling the business, and some of the bigger, the more seasoned mechanics are leaving the field, they're retiring and stuff, and that's what's happening all over the world. Our seasoned professionals are leaving industries. But he was able to take, this would have normally, back up, this would have normally been about a 40 to 50 hour job where they had to go up inside the RV, pull the front of the motor, take the cam out, yada, yada, yada. Big money, $6,000 to $7,000 in labor probably. Aaron, the mechanic that worked on it, super good guy. He was able to go up inside there, release tension on the system, and pull this cam out and pull the rockers and lifters out without taking the front of the motor off. Saved us a boatload of money. It went down to about a $2,100 bill versus about a $7,100 bill. Absolutely perfect. Don't want to spend the money, but it's $2,000 is better than $7,000. My statement to you folks out there in the YouTube world is find a mechanic you trust that is good at what they do and try to use them. There's very few of them out there anymore, in my opinion. Been around cars and trucks my whole life, and it's very hard to find anybody that really knows their stuff and will stand behind it and will think outside the box and not just go by the book. But to you as a personal note, I'm a big fan of knowing your stuff. It's not just simple drive the truck down the road, the car down the road, whatever. You got to know a little bit about yourself, and you got to be prepared to be involved in the process. Like I self-diagnosed this up on I-10 on the interstate and kind of gave Aaron my feedback, and he confirmed it once he got into it. But know your stuff. Know what it sounds like normally. Know what it looks like normally. Be involved with what you drive. It will save you so much aggravation, and you'll educate yourself. So whether it's your car, your RV, especially if you're full-timing, this could have put us out of commission. This could have made this RV worthless if we did not catch it in time. All right, so just a little PSA, I guess I'll call it. And now what I'd like to do, since we got this out of the way, is let Sharon tell you about our next week and what we're going to be doing next week. It's going to be super cool and exciting. So,
Very interesting, Dwight. Who would have thought that something so little could have such a big impact on our life?
no doubt. No, it could have been bigger.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Anyhow, we luckily it only cost us about a week's time here. Luckily we had some friends here to stay with, so it's always wonderful to have such great friends all across the country. But anyhow, tomorrow we are leaving to Lakeland, Florida. We are going to be meeting up with Phil and Stacy of the YouTube channel Today is Someday, or You and Me in the RV. And it's their annual gathering, so we're going to meet with them and probably about other 50 or 60 other RVs, spending the week together, doing some fun stuff. We're doing a fundraiser for a veterans charity and other fun stuff. I think we're going to do the RV Olympics, and we're going to do pie in the face. You got to vote for Phil or Stacy. But anyhow, it's going to be a good time, so we're both looking forward to that and meeting some new people, whether they're full-timers or part-timers or heavy-timers. So make sure to stay tuned for next week, and we'll show you all the fun.